Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Admiral, Chief, Mr. Janikin, Mr. Cordero. Thank you very much for being here. Mr. Chairman, you pretty much laid it out. We got a problem here. Our national economic strength and vitality remains closely tethered to the global supply chain, a supply chain that is dependent on safe, efficient, and reliable marine transportation. Consequently, few things could be any more important than to ensure that we invest wisely and sufficient funding in agencies that serve to protect, secure, and facilitate the maritime commerce of the United States. Yet, after viewing the fiscal year 2017 budget request from the United States Coast Guard, the Maritime Administration, and the Federal Maritime Commission, there's only one conclusion that I can make, and that is these are not going to be the best of times. We're headed for a problem here. Certainly it's the best of times when you have a Coast Guard and a budget that requests substantial funding to maintain progress on the vital recapitalization of its offshore cutter fleets, especially new funding to procure long lead time materials for the offshore patrol cutter, and to begin the recapitalization of the polar icebreakers. But the Coast Guard budget that cuts over $800 million from its acquisitions and construction account, which also neglects the requested adequate funding to address the significant backlogs in both unmet shoreside infrastructure and Coast Guard housing needs, is short-sighted and disappointing. Similarly, the great success that we all shared last year when we pushed through the increased authorization funding levels for the Maritime Security Program, it's been dampened by MARAD's request seeking to fund the MSP at the 2015 funding level, while also perpetrating the administration's ill-advised food aid reform policies. I must tell you, it is disappointing to see this come back again and again and again. The Chairman spoke very clearly about the lack of wisdom of that program and what it means to our mariners, and more important, what it means to starving people around the world. I note Ethiopia and the crisis that they're having there, and the need for food purchased locally. Are you kidding me? So, maybe we can put an end to the ill-advised reform that is inherent in this proposal, Mr. Janikin. On top of all this disappointment, we also find that the administration has not requested funding for Title XI, loan guarantees for the small shipyards. Everybody wants to talk about making it in America, about manufacturing, about jobs, and one of the most important programs we have available to us on the cheap, Title XI. So we're going to starve it. In closing, if you want to have a reliable marine supply chain and a vibrant maritime and shipbuilding industry and a safe and secure marine environment, and to deter drugs and. Better fund the Coast Guard, folks, and the merchant marines. This budget doesn't do it. So let's get in a brawl with the administration, and let's make some choices. I just left a meeting this morning with the Air Force that wants to rebuild their entire nuclear arsenal at a cost of several billion a year. So let's make some choices. Coast Guard comes out on top. The Merchant Marine comes out on top of that equation. All right, enough said. Let's get on into it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.